Hello there, boys and girls. Welcome to the first match of the LP. We're playing some high elves. Or we're playing some... Oh, Jesus Christ. We're playing some normal elves. Berg, save me. We're playing elves.
We're playing the pro elves. They're professionals.
They are professionals. And, of course, we are playing the team called the Glamatures. And we have 11 elves on the pitch. We have 2 team rerolls. And we're playing against a really, really gross... Chaos Dwarf team, Chorf. I was trying not to say Chorf, because that's what I call them.
Oh, they're chores, it's fine. And we have 11 elves for now, that's the important part.
Yep. So, normally when you start a team, they're, what we call fresh, basically, because they have no skills, they have nothing. We're playing against a player, Victor Vermis, who came into this team with a non-fresh team, which is, I was hoping that he would bring a fresh team, but it turns out that he sort of min-maxed a little bit, and he wanted to try to bring a gimmick team. So... and also we're showing the kickoff setups. Every other single time I'm going to be editing these out because this is just a couple minutes of usually me just talking to my opponent about how shitty my dice were or about how stupid that play was, and then we set up our players in kickoff. So for now I'm going to show it, but from now on they're not going to be shown.
Oh god, this guy doesn't have any bowls.
No, he doesn't have any bowls. Okay, so Berg, let's talk some Chaos Dwarfs. What do you see here?
I see no bowls.
You say no bowls, and you see a Minotaur.
Yeah, I'm very confused right now, but I like it.
So typically Chaos Dwarfs, they start with 2 what are called Bull Centaurs, they're bigger players. They're not as big as the Bull, but they're kind of big. And what Victor Vermis has chose to do is to roll a sort of a gimmick start where he gets the Minotaur and he gets 4 rerolls. But he only has 3 Chorf blockers, which are going to be the guys with the hats.
Yeah, little efficient little fuckers, too. They just sit there and bash the hell out of elves forever.
Yep. Okay, so every time you kick the ball, you get a kickoff event, and it's a D12, or 2D6, and it's got a bunch of random results. And in this case, he rolled Quick Snap, which means that because it's his offensive drive, he gets to move each of his players 1 square. It doesn't have to worry about like tackle zones or dodging or anything. He just gets to move his players around. And so he's going to set up to punch the shit out of my line.
Yeah, well, at least you remember to set up 2 off the line like I always forget to do, and he's not going to get to hit your entire team.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that you do have to think about. I was especially cautious about where I set up because of that Minotaur. So, the Chorf blockers, those little dwarfy guys, they're extremely slow, but they start with a skill called Block, which is the best skill in the game. More on that as it becomes relevant. And they also get Tackle, which isn't going to be relevant in this game. It's also a very good skill, but it won't be relevant.
You're misleading people, Nu. Wrestle is the king of skills.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wrestle is actually we all know that Wrestle is the best skill, but as far as the normal people are concerned.
Okay. It's good save.
So, in addition to the Minotaur, the gigantic guy who has Frenzy, which means when he punches people, he gets to follow them up and punch them again. In addition to the Chaos Dwarf blockers, who are little giant mini tanks. Okay, so here comes the Bull. He's going to be doing a lot of blitzing with the Bull, and he's going directly for Doritos Mountain Dew.
No!
I picked probably the 3 names that I wanted to see die first go on the line, and that was Asshole Tony, because I would like to see Asshole Tony die, even though I love that name. Dies first, obviously needs to be the first player to die, and then also Doritos Mountain Dew. I thought it'd be really funny if he died first. So.
I actually hope Dies first lives forever, just to spite you.
To spite me?
Yes.
Why spite? I want all of my players to live.
You're playing elves. I kind of have to be angry about it. It's in my nature.
So the rest of Victor Vermis' team is Hobgoblins, and they're just kind of okay. They're not great, and they're just kind of average. Oh, also he brought 13 players instead of 11, so he has 2 spheres so that he can do stuff like this, which is foul.
I wonder if he plans on fouling.
Yep. Okay, so when you foul players on the ground, if you crowd people around them, you get a chance to try to, you can hurt them more if you have more players standing around them. In this case, if you roll... So basically you roll a 2d6, and if you roll doubles, which is like a 5-5 or a 4-4 or a 3-3. In fact, he rolled a 1-1, so he rolled the worst result. And if you roll doubles, your player gets ejected from the game, and they have to go stand on the sidelines for the rest of the match. And that's really good for me, because I'm going to take my speedy little sons of bitches, and I'm going to go run downfield.
Zanzibar Jones, what a powerful name.
Zanzibar Jones is the most powerful name on this team. No doubt. The positionals all have some great names, and it's hard to pick my favorite.
The Dragon!
The Dragon. Zanzibar Jones was a callback to my last LP, where Zanzibar Jones was a name that people kept trying to get pushed through for the longest time, and it never quite made it. It was usually second or third over and over. So this whole time I've been talking about Dwarfs and haven't really talked about what I'm doing here as elves. So as elves, I am obviously I'm going to be faster than this guy, and I'm going to be faster than most teams in general. But because half of his team is all the way back there, or I guess rather 3 of his players are all the way back there, and most of his players are right here in the middle, I kind of want to try to run downfield as fast as possible and get in his way and try to stop him. Because if he is able to, what we call cage up, which is to basically surround his ball carrier with other players, elves are really weak, so they have a hard time cracking cages. So I want to try to get down there as fast as possible.
Yeah, and just effectively use your elves as little blood bags for him to punch, but slow him down enough that you can fuck with him.
Exactly. In addition, I also want to keep as many of my elves away from his players as possible, because the less players, so that you see the player get ejected, the less players I have touching his players, the less punching he can do against me. And because I'm primarily armor value 7, which is kind of weak, I'm in for a bad time.
7 is Hanzo Steel.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
8's the garbage AV. 8's
so,
oh, wow. Oh, no.
Okay, so, welcome to the first death.
Oh, no. Not Doritos Mountain Dew.
I thought... Okay, so... rest in peace, Doritos Mountain Dew.
Wow.
Match 1 to match 1, turn 2. So, whenever players die, I like to give them little death montages, and in this case, I thought it would be fitting for a player on a Pro Elf MLG Pro team named Doritos Mountain Dew to go out to some sick, amazing race.
Yeah, man, you just needed some more, like, spin screens and, like, a couple explosions added in.
I should have added more explosions.
Oh.
I might go back after this and put in some explosions.
I was not expecting video editing. I'm blown away. This is such quality.
I am high quality. So welcome to Elves. We have a player who's dead already.
This is starting off better than I could have dreamed.
You motherfuckers wanted death, and I've brought it to you.
I always want death. That's all I've ever wanted in Blood Bowl.
And so that was Doritos Mountain Dew. May he rest in peace. Never forget. Doritos Mountain Dew was only a lineman, and while that is important because I'm now down to only 10 players, and from now on I'm going to be at a man disadvantage because he's probably always going to have 11 players. It's not, in long term, it's not a huge deal.
Well, elves especially, the linemen that you get off of, loners are still pretty goddamn good in terms of players compared to most.
Yeah, and since I can basically guarantee that next match we're not going to have enough players to field. Okay, so that's the first appearance of what we call dub skulls, which is if you roll skull, and that is almost always a reroll, and that's really funny to see on your opponent because it means that he has to waste one of his team rerolls, so he's not down to 3, which is still a pretty large amount considering he has 8 turns to use them all.
Yeah, but he's got the cage intact.
He does have the cage intact, but I managed to segregate his force a little bit, so he has a lot of his players all the way down his field, and some of his players in the middle of his field. And if I can keep those 2 squads apart while just elfing around and sort of keeping him contained, basically, and for the most of this LP, I'm just sort of going to be dancing around my opponents and trying to like zone them out, because elves don't really have the muscle to get stuff done.
You need to hire UPenn in an advisory role. Oof.
I wish I had more muscle. I am unfortunately quite weak.
Oh no.
So I'm going to fully fuck this up and get over here.
Hey, maybe Asshole Tony will kill that bull for you.
Asshole Tony is gonna run away, like the rest of my team.
Coward.
So, on most teams, standing up your player is probably good enough, because on most teams, your base agility 3, which means dodging is on a 3+. But because all of my players are agility 4, and they all do it on a 2+, like 1 in 6, I'm gonna fall over, but the odds are better that I'm actually just going to be totally fine. And in this case, Asshole Tony got away fine. So it's in my benefit to stand away from his players, because that also means I get punched less.
Yeah.
If none of my players are standing next to any of his players, he can only punch me once, which for me is good because that means less players die, but for you guys it's probably bad because that means less players die.
Yeah, but the setup as it is right now, though, he could pretty easily just box you in. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so, in chat, I mentioned that I thought it was fitting that Dies First was not actually the first one to die, and I said that he was safe, and I said that he had a prophecy that Dies First was now invincible, but it turns out that he was second. So rest in peace, Dies First. He was first in our hearts, but second on the obituary. Is the quote that I gave.
Well,
and if you missed those death cards, you might want to go back and look at them.
Well, at least he's dead, and he's with Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
So,
okay. And at this point, like, any reasonable person would just concede this game, give the opponent the victory, and remake the team, because this is already a waste of my time, because I'm going to have to go get 2 dead players back. But this is the LP, so we're not giving up just yet. We might give up.
This is a strong start, though. It's a strong start.
This is a very strong start. I'm already like the eternal. I'm going to be the underdog for the longest time, because I'm going to be, in addition to trying to just get my team good, I'm going to be having to recover from the fact that 2 of my players are dead.
Well, frankly, you did this to yourself.
What? How?
You named somebody dies first. You were challenging Blood Bowl not only to kill him, but to also make you wrong.
I didn't name that. I didn't make that name.
You typed it into the name box.
That's the thread, though.
This is Nuffle himself did this to you.
The thread is... and I bet there are people cackling with laughter right now, and they're probably not wrong to do so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But this is a strong start to the LP, folks. It's turn 3 of the first match, and I have 2 players who are dead.
But the dragon is alive.
That's true. The last LP, the very first block was a dub skull, or maybe the second, I can't remember. But either way, this wins. So, as you can see, he's very strongly set up on the sideline. Most of his players, he's now managed to combine his forces, and he's circled the whole gang out. There's one floating Chorf over there, but I'm going to take care of him. But he's pushed way against the sideline, which is kind of good for him. If you're on the sideline, that just means that I can't come in from both sides to attack you. But if you're up against the sideline, that means that I have a better... it's easier for me to contain his players.
As a Bash player, there's a flip side to it, though. He has to use less players to protect his guy on the line, and he can use more to press his advantage, too. You can move around and try and cage him in nicely, but he also gets to use an extra 2 people that could be using, set up for the cage that he gets to use with you.
That's true. But considering the fact that I have 2 dead players, and I mean, that just means I'm down 2 players, I'm pretty comfortable that the fact that it's turn 4 and he hasn't crossed into my half yet, and I'm pretty well caged up.
Well, yeah, I don't think he's gonna be able to move. I don't think he's gonna be able to move much in these next couple of turns at all, unless he gets another player or 2 down either. So
no, you can see that something that's going to be very common is me stacking up like this 2 columns deep. So what he's going to do is he has a player who has frenzy, so when he punches, he can punch twice. So this means that he can blitz and then punch me here, and then punch me onto the sideline, which surfs me, and that knocks me out of play. In this case, I get a casualty. Only badly hurt.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. We're good. Safe.
Yeah. So he's out for the game, but he's not dead. At that point, I'll take it as a plus. Oh, also, this Minotaur...
break tackle?
He has a skill called break tackle, which means once a turn... we're probably almost never going to see this again. It's very good for big, strong guys, because it means once a turn, instead of using the agility stat to make a dodge, he gets to use his strength stat, which is 5, which is better than my elves. So what he did there is he broke tackle back so that I couldn't try to counter surf him with L. Ron Hubbard, who is also the best name on this LP.
No, I don't know. I really, really like Asshole Tony.
Asshole Tony's pretty good, but he's only a lineman. L. Ron Hubbard is a catcher, which means he's super duper fast, and while he's a little bit weaker, he's pretty good. He's really fast.
Well, and you say we'll never see break tackle again. We could have if you played the One True team.
Is it Lizards?
Yeah, of course it's Lizards.
The Lizard Dream is dead. I'm sorry. I don't know how to tell you this.
I understand that it's dead, but it's never dead in my heart.
That's true. That's a good stance to take.
Just like the South, lizards will rise again.
Why did you say that? Why would you say that? What's wrong with you? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, obviously, I take that as a challenge that I can't surf the Minotaur. The fact that he just broke tackle. The fact that he came into this match, this fresh match, with a team that has a player who has break tackle. So there's my first dub skull, whatever. We're just going to cruise right past that because I got more important things to do, which is surf this Minotaur. It's going to be a 1dB followed into a 1dB. Or no, followed into a minus 2dB. But I want to surf this guy. Unfortunately, the dice are too good, and I just knock him down.
I mean, you could have worse problems.
Yeah, that's true. I'm blitzing with Zanzibar Jones, who is a elf blitzer, and we have not... Oh, I'm also going to foul him because he fouled me earlier, and that's only fair, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't want that player standing up. So I'm going to blitz him with Zanzibar Jones, and while that puts Zanzibar Jones in a pretty comparable position, compared to my other players, Zanzibar Jones is extremely durable because he starts with block as well. And I know we said we were going to get back to it as it becomes relevant, but if you weren't paying attention on the intro video, block means that when you roll your block dice, if you roll the result both down, which is it's got the skull and the POW sign, right? Is that right? Am I remembering correctly? Yeah. If you roll that, normally if it's just two like skillless players who don't have any skills, that's what skillless means, obviously. If it's two skillless players, then they both fall over and that turn ends. So the player who has control of the board loses their turn. But if you have block, you don't go down. So if my player, Zanzibar Jones, runs up to like a hobgoblin and punches them and gets both down, he knocks them to the ground right where they stand, and I can keep on my turn like on my merry way. He also has a skill called sidestep. You can see that every time you push players, whenever you do like a POW or a push POW, or a defender stumbles, a defender down, or any of the pushes, you get to basically push the players through to like the 3 squares behind them. But Zanzibar Jones has a skill called sidestep, which means that he can step into any square next to him that he can occupy. So in this case, it was those 3 squares to the left, and I chose to step up.
Yep, sidestep's an obnoxious skill.
Yeah, it means that I can pin him on the sideline. I can just stand Zanzibar Jones on the sideline, and most of the time he's fine. And it also makes him really sticky because, say, you want to try to take advantage of the fact that you can push Zanzibar Jones to a specific place, and it's really hard to do because I just sort of stand wherever I want.
I'm not really sure what VV's plan here was, though.
I don't know. I guess I managed to stuff him good enough because he has decided to fall back, which is really good for me because it's turn 5 out of 8 turns, and he's way back there.
This is the best result you could have had happen there, actually, I think.
Yeah, I was really, really happy because I was starting to lose screen integrity pretty hard.
Yeah. I think he's trying to test his own naming scheme. He's going to see if Bristol 5 can, in fact, pass easily.
Oh, God. Okay. So what happened in that last play was, or that last block that I just made, it was I knocked a player out. And if you roll, when you punch people, you roll some dice and you try to break their armor, which is based on their armor value. And if you manage to break their armor, and you roll decently, but not too good that you cast them and hurt them, you can roll what's called a knockout, and they get removed from the pitch, and at the end of every single drive, they have to roll some dice to try to wake back up again. So that guy is essentially, he's out for this drive, and he could be out for the rest of the match, depending on what the dice look like.
Well, when you're behind, your opponent's KOs all come back and yours never do. This is Blood Bowl 101.
Exactly. There's actually secret dice
Yes.
that make things really shitty for you. So you can see I move Zanzibar Jones into that spot rather than stand stacked up with around Hubbard because I don't want Pepito Busy Bull to just surf around Hubbard as well. That'd be really bad.
That blocker's name is Loose Stool.
Yeah. There's also Berg Turdler over there, which I'm not sure if those was an intentional reference to you or not.
I doubt it. I'm pretty sure his Chorf blockers are all just poo puns.
They are all poo
Yeah.
puns, but it could have been an intentional reference.
Now I understand what passes easily means. He wasn't talking about the ball.
That's correct.
Mm.
Was this the first time that you heard of this?
Yeah.
Did you just figure that out? I'm so
Yep.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Mm.
Condolences.
What a naming scheme.
So now he's going to move his whole team back up, and he basically just wasted a turn running backwards to run back forward.
But it's fine. It's great. It's what you wanted.
Yeah, that's actually super nifty for me because I can start to fall back, and as we reach the end of the first half, I can basically just try to defend the touchdown. Because, as the veteran Blood Bowl players know, as long as there's 2 elves on the field, I can score a touchdown because one of them can pick up the ball and throw it to the other one, and I can just run away because I am, for the most part, faster than he is.
Yeah, UPenn taught me that lesson a lot with his rats. As long as there's one gunner on the field, you're never safe.
Exactly.
It's the worst.
So again, I'm going to try to heavily defend my sideline because if he can move up the sideline, that's really good for him. So I'm going to use my blitz to come stand over here.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has his dudes one off the sideline there. He might actually be able to gain here.
Yeah, I'm also being super cautious about where I stand players because I don't want to get surfed. That is an infinite concern for me. So something that I think I started to mention but then got distracted by something else is going to happen a lot in this first video. You can see Zanzibar Jones and Asshole Tony are sort of stacked up in. We just call them columns because they are columns. But this is like a pretty textbook example of what a screen looks like. So the reason I want to stand my players too deep like this is what I'm doing is I'm screening him out from being able to move forward. If it was just Asshole Tony or just Zanzibar Jones, all he'd have to do is blitz that player, punch a hole through from the tackle zones of my players, and then he would just be able to run right through past my players. If for this example, if he were to knock over L. Round Hubbard, he wouldn't be able to run past me. He'd have to like dodge through the tackle zones of the loose cannon, and that's really hard, especially for agility 3 players, which his hobgoblins are, but the rest of his team is agility 2.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things too with stacking up columns with elves, especially, is that even if they hit you and run up to you, you can just dodge a space back. At most, they're getting a space or 2 every turn if you do it right, and they don't kill anyone.
Yeah. So, of course, it's turn 7. That means he has to have a player in position to score this turn. So he's going to pass the ball to a Dwarf, which is already, for a Dwarf to catch the ball is a 50% chance of working. And now he has to roll a bunch of going for it's.
Yeah, doesn't he need 3 go for it starting from
He
there?
needs to roll all 4
Oh, yeah,
for-its.
wow.
Going for it, I mentioned it in the intro video, but beyond your movement allowance, so in this case, he only has 4 movement allowance. Also look at that. He miscounted. So he's 1 square short of scoring a touchdown. In this case, he has 4 movement. Beyond that, you have what's called 2 going for it, which is where you have to roll a 2+, which is obviously you have to roll a 2 or better on a d6, which just means don't roll a 1. Not exactly advisable if you want to avoid risk, you don't roll going for it. But in this case, he has to roll a bunch of them to try to score. He only rolled 1 going for it, and then he forgot to roll his second one, which means that he's going to, even with both going for it and the full 6 movement that he could possibly move, he's not going to have enough movement to go score. So, I stopped him from scoring. I could, go get that ball if I really wanted to and maybe try to score myself, but I decided instead I want to try to punch some of his players and even the odds.
Well, he stopped himself from scoring.
That's true, he did stop himself from scoring.
And he took the coward's way out. That block with the Minotaur, he already knew he wasn't going to score. He should have taken the both down.
He totally forgot that he couldn't score, and I wasn't going to say anything until it was too late.
I thought you said 1 square short in there, no?
Oh, did I tell him during the turn?
Yeah,
okay.
You typed something in there, yeah.
Well, then I guess he just cares a lot about his Minotaur not dying. So what I'm going to do is punch a bunch of his players and then stand all of my players not near any of his players so that he's going to get 1 more punch for a blitz, and then for whatever happens there happens. That'll be the end of a very, very raw match of Blood Bowl. This was a dirty, dirty half. Would you agree?
Oh, God, it was awful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was excited. I like it. I like the blood, but it was bad. Yeah, I was pretty unlucky.
It was bad for me and possibly only me.
Yeah, but I mean, your elves. I mean, you're only down a third of your team. You're gonna score.
Yeah, this game is by no means over, and the fact that it's tied and I'm gonna get the ball at the beginning of the second half means that things are actually looking up.
This doesn't look bad at all for you now.
You can see Berg Turtler is just sort of standing up in the, he's so close to greatness, but he can't get it. So, Pepito Busy Bull is going to go after Tina Fey, my catcher. He's probably going to try to foul me here again. The last LP, people really, really wanted me to foul because when you foul people, obviously you have a chance to try to kill them. But I typically don't really like doing it. I consider it like bad manners. I consider it like a BM move just because if you punch somebody and you kill them, you get star player points. If you foul somebody and kill them, you get nothing. You just get an advantage for that game. And considering this is sort of we're just having fun, pick up games, you're recording, this is an LP, whatever, I'm not a huge fan of fouling. That's all I'm probably going to say about fouling because I'm sure the thread is going to start talking about fouling forever because almost any time I tried to mention fouling, they usually did. So we're just going to throw our punches and cruise ahead into halftime.
Wait, is killing people, is gaining SPP your reason for killing people?
Yeah.
No, that's not why you kill people. In Blood Bowl? No, it's all for the blood. It's the wrong mindset.
But if you kill people, your players get better.
Yeah, or you can kill their players and make it easier for your other players to get better. I mean, they don't have to get the SPP. You kill them with a boot. It's fun. But it makes the other players easier to get better with them. Because there's less stuff. It's fine.
Whatever. This is halftime.
Whatever.
We'll see you guys for the second half.